Welcome to Generally Speaking, the off-season edition. I'm your host, Angelo Fioris, also known as at NJ_Generals on Twitter, part of the USFL Today. Follow me and the at USFL Today account on Twitter for all the news, notes, and information about the USFL. No one covers the USFL like the USFL Today. Now, I want to bring in my next guest. He's super fast. He's an awesome kick returner. He's the reason why the Generals had such great starting field position all season long. And he is also the highest rated quarterback on the roster, Mr. Cam Echols-Luper. Welcome to the show, Cam. How you doing, man?
I'm good, my man. How you doing, brother? Thank you for
Oh
having me.
man, I'm doing so good. I appreciate you coming on. It's been, we've been going back and forth trying to make this happen, and here we are finally.
Man, absolutely, man. It's feel like you've been trying to get me on for a little minute, man. But here I am, man. I'm excited to be here, bro.
I've been trying to get you probably since the season. What's going on?
It's only a couple months after the season. We're only into halfway off season, but it's okay.
Yeah, that's all right. But you just said it, Cam. We're halfway through the off season already. That was fast.
It's crazy to think about, huh?
Yeah. You figure, we're hitting Thanksgiving, and then the corner's going to turn to the new year, and you guys are going to be thinking about like reporting to camp.
Yeah, man. That. What's crazy is, man, I was just saying this with my lady yesterday, man. It's like, okay, we just went through Halloween. Why is all this Christmas stuff like it's Thanksgiving first? Slow down, like let's slow down a little bit, man. And just to think about we're halfway through off season, and really just think about it's what if you don't count March, with three months until
Right.
camp starts. So it's really just a click of a finger. You turn your head and it's there.
Hey man, I mean, you blink and you were playing at Protective Field for Week 10, and then heading to the Canton for the playoffs, and that was middle of June. That feels like it was just a minute ago, man.
It really does, man. It just some mornings I feel that last game. Some mornings still. Just close. We really just got done playing. But then again, man, these little 3-4 months that I've had off, has been tremendous. I've enjoyed it, but I think I can speak for everybody who has signed back, everybody who's on the general squad, and say that I'm anxious and ready to get back.
Unfinished business, right?
Man, I don't even know if we can say unfinished business, because it's more of just like we took care of business. We let it go from ourselves, And if I had a quote or a better word to say of unfinished business, I would, because it's more of just like it's not even unfinished. It's because we did exactly what we were supposed to do. We just, what I'm saying, we just let a few loose screws come undone.
Yeah, that's kind of how it felt. It felt like, there was no explanation for why it was rolling along the way it was all afternoon, right? You just couldn't be like, what is going on out there? No one really had an answer for it. Even now, 3 months later, Cam, I've asked everybody from Coach Smith to Billy Devaney, Toby, you now, and ain't nobody got an explanation for what took place on June 25th, 2022 in Canton, Ohio.
And to sum it up in better words, for instance, when Steph Curry is hot and he's just making shots, him and Clay just on fire, there's going to be that one shot that just kills it all. Like,
right.
The hot will be done, and that was just our time, man. And just to say, we had a fun run, but, I think to say, like, honestly, I think I can say and speak for everybody that we were extremely lackadaisical. Not even for that day. I mean, not even for the game, for the whole day, we were very lackadaisical. I can say I was. Not saying that, I thought we had it in the bag. Not saying that we all thought we had it in the bag. But at the same time, this has probably been mentioned, but we were playing the Stars for the third time.
Right.
For the third week.
And just a week later, back to back.
The back. Now, everybody knows it's hard to beat a team twice. Okay. You beat them twice. How much harder is it to beat them that third time?
I think history has proven the difficulty level in that.
You understand? So it's like they had our number, we had their number. So it's literally every play was a haymaker. That's how the game was. And if you really go back and watch the game from special teams to offense, every play was a haymaker. Like there was somebody had to come out that game with the L. Regardless, that that's how a game goes. Regardless, but that was one of those matches where it's okay. We just played y'all 2 weeks in a row. Yes, we won, but those other two don't mean nothing,
right,
at all. Which it sucks to say that those other 2 wins we had don't account to nothing now. And that's what really sucks to say about it, because we finished 9-1, I believe, and that's a pretty good record. You know what I'm saying? Like,
no one saw that coming out of you guys.
I had fun. I had a great season. It was a tremendous time to strap on again, and like I had this interview before the season. It was my first time playing in 3.5, 4 years.
Right.
So man,
I was looking at that. It would have been 2018 where you played in Canada, and then now you're back playing in the States for the Generals in the USFL. Let me ask you though, in those 4 years, right? What are you doing to maintain that blazing speed of yours, man?
And you know what they say: if you don't use it, you lose it, man. And just stay steady. I'm steady working. I'm steady doing something to where I'm running constantly. At one point I wasn't. At one point I did give up football and I wasn't training. I wasn't doing anything, and I kind of had a couple of odd jobs. I was working at a gym and I was also working in valet. So most people know a valet, they running from one spot to the other.
Right.
Well, it's kind of hard to hit top speed in black cargo pants and non-running shoes, but I get the job done.
Right.
So
right.
man, and after a period of time, I decided I wanted to play again, and so just constantly training, constantly doing one-on-ones, constantly doing workouts, constantly doing drills. Man, I had no choice but to be running.
You were the fastest player in the Sun Belt Conference when you were in college. That's quite an honor, and that's a conference that's loaded with speedy dudes.
Yeah, it is, man, and I'm glad you said that, because a lot of people try to harp on the Sun Belt, man, and if you really think about it, it's called the Fun Belt for a reason.
That's right.
It really is, and there's a lot of great talent, a lot of great athletes in the Sun Belt that come out of Coastal, New Mexico State, Arkansas State, Troy. It's a lot of great guys. I can sit here and name a few of them that are in the league, but man, yeah, the Sun Belt was, it was a fun time.
Yeah, and you're a track and field athlete too in school, and you had some success there. 200, you were running the 200. What else did you run? And you were a jumper as well.
So I was a jumper turned sprinter, but so I ran the 200, and then I also was lead off for the 4x1, and then I long jumped, and then here and there I might play with the 100, but I wasn't too fond of the 100 because of just the short distance that it was. But that was my race. I was primarily a 200 runner, and then a long jumper, and then I would lead off for a 4x1.
What was your max distance in the long jump? What'd you peak at?
So my furthest distance was 26 feet, 7. And a funny story about that mark is actually unofficial. So it's nowhere in the record books. It's not even there, because at the time, so we were at Ames, Iowa at Big 12s. And at the time of my jump,
you were at TCU at this point then?
Yeah, I was at TCU I believe this was going into my sophomore year. So no, this was my sophomore season. Yes, this was my sophomore season. And so the official at the long jump, they have a beam. They put a beam, it's a stick, right? They put a stick in the sand, and on the side of the sand pit is a long beam that basically it'll mark your mark, right? And then, instead of using the old school tape measure with the stick, they don't use that anymore. So they have a beam there. So he put the stick in the ground and got the mark. But instead of keeping it there, they started to rake the entire pit, picked the stick up, and the beam, lucky enough, got like a quick mark. But the fact that he raked it up, he couldn't find the mark to place the stick to get an official mark.
Oh.
So my unofficial mark was 26 feet, 7 inches. But then again, they don't know if that was the official correct distance.
Yeah. Wow, that's a hell of a leap, though.
Jumped 27 feet. I could have jumped less than 26 or 26.7, but from my knowledge and from my track coach's knowledge at TCU was Coach Anderson, we both believe it was over 26.7.
Yeah. Isn't that a shame when you uncork one of your best ones too, and somebody messes up, and all right, people make mistakes, and
Yeah,
that
it was
stinks.
a lot of controversy after that too. But man, it was one of those that I couldn't even be mad at because one, I won Big 12s. I won it with that jump, so I was a Big 12 champion. And then everybody saw it happen. So you couldn't sit there and say that I didn't do it or I couldn't do it because I did it.
Right.
And then, all my averages were, I wouldn't say I averaged that distance, but my average was, was fairly, it was high 25s, low 26s. So for me to just to pop a 26.7 wasn't unnecessary, or it wasn't like man, he's never done this before, because I would do it randomly.
It ain't like you were jumping in the 24s and all of a sudden uncorked a foot and a half higher than your PB, right?
I would, yeah, I literally, I would just, it might be 6-7 inches, which you wouldn't think is a lot, but that's a lot in the long jump stance.
Yeah, that's enormous. 6 inches. I mean, what are we talking about here? World records are broken by a hair of an inch.
They really are.
They really are. 18.6 was my cap there, Cam.
It's all right. It's all right, man. Just put a little work in. We might have got you to 20.
Yeah, maybe that would have been great. Hey, if I would have hit 20, boy, that'd be my story.
Hey, man, there's a lot of long jumpers in this world where they started at 20. It's all right.
That's true. That's true. But then they keep going. I kind of stopped.
The long jump was fun though, man. And a lot of people say, and I can say it too, I had a little bit more success at TCU on the track and field than I did, with football. But that's just two completely different worlds, or two different aspects. And football is a we sport.
Yeah.
Track is a me sport, unless you are put on a relay.
Right.
But then again, if you're on a relay, you still got a job to do. You know what I'm saying? Like, one person has one job to do. Yeah. But you all have to pass that baton around, so it becomes a team. But man, I ran track at Arkansas State too. But I don't know, I was so focused on being a football player that I just didn't have the same passion for it at Arkansas State.
Not the same as it was at TCU.
No, it could have been, because me and Ralph Benner, we could have been the amazing duo that everybody said we could have been. But man, I was so focused on, one, being a quarterback at Arkansas State, because that's why I left TCU to go play quarterback.
Right.
And so solely focused on my main focus of playing football that I just didn't. It's not that I didn't care. I just didn't care enough.
Yeah, I understand that. Sort of like the edge was sort of gone because your edge was somewhere else.
Exactly. And I could have kept the edge there, but I solely made a decision that, you know what, I'm a quarterback at Arkansas State. I will and want to become the quarterback at Arkansas State. So this is what I need to do.
Let's talk about you being a quarterback. You threw one pass this season. It was a beautiful pass. It was on a key. It was in a key point during a game, right? Driving to come from behind against Houston, 1st and 10, somewhere around your own 30, somewhere around the Houston 32, 33. And it was a reverse. You come around from the right-hand side, and who do you find but Luis Perez about 10, 12 yards down the field, and you put the ball right in the basket. It was a perfect pass. And credit Luis for being able to turn up field and gain like another 5-6 yards after he made the grab, huh?
Man, you know what's so funny about that play? I love Luis to death, man. That's my guy. Luis worked on that jump cut all week.
Oh, did he really?
Man, he did, and it worked to perfection. Just how he worked on it in practice, it literally happened in a game just like that.
That is so funny.
And what's even funnier is, so DeAndre was supposed to be the receiver. He was supposed to be the receiver there. I don't know if it was that game or the game before DeAndre got hurt.
It was the week before DeAndre got hurt.
Yeah, so it was the week before, and we were supposed to run that play the week before. And somehow the play calling and everything, how it was just going, we didn't get there. Okay. So the next week, I'm not gonna lie, I was a little birdie over there talking about, hey coach, it'll work. And I'm not gonna say, and Terp was helping, it'll work, coach. So once he finally realized, we was on that hash, safeties were coming down. It was perfect time just to run it. And man, I'm not gonna lie, I thought I underthrew it I really thought I underthrew Louise because I kind of babied it,
You flicked it,
but
yeah.
I did. But it was one of those where it was like, all right, I know how I throw the ball, and I know how Louise is running. I don't want to put the ball to where he will put the ball to me and it'll be right here because he doesn't catch that every day. So I literally put it like on his front shoulder, so all he had to do was turn his head and catch it.
Yeah, it kind of fell into the basket.
Yeah, man. And what's crazy, that's exactly how we ran it. The practice before and the practice before, that's exactly how I threw it. It was that exact way I babied it. And the whole time he was like, no, Cam, throw me the ball. Throw me the ball. I'm just like, all right, throw it. I'm going to throw it.
I was going to bring that up. I was speaking to Billy Devaney the other day, and we were talking about that exact play. And he told me that Luis was asking for you to throw a little zip on the ball there. He didn't want you to baby it in there, but when it came down to it, you laid it in there exactly the way it needed to when that play developed. And I was impressed by that, and I wish I would have seen you throw the ball, a little more often in some trickery. Man, that was fun.
Hey, man, I can't tell you what's going to come for next season, but I'm pretty sure I caught the eyes of, Bill there and and Coach Riley. So pretty sure it might be a couple more, up the sleeve, but I can't just promise nothing.
Well, although you were primarily the kick returner last year and you excelled at that, giving the Generals starting field position of always better than the 35-yard line. We're always starting 35, 40-yard line, somewhere around there. You did get on the field a couple times, and you had a great touchdown run on that funky little double reverse from about 25 yards out where Luis gave the ball to Terp, who flipped it to you, and you took it around the left side of down the left sideline, completely untouched. I mean, you walked into the end zone by the end. The Michigan defense was completely fooled on that play.
Exactly. Well, most defenses will see, and most coaches, that's the exact same play as the one that I threw to Luis. Exact same play, just same formation. Only thing is I just went to a different receiver, but everything was the same, and it looked the exact same. And even though the defense was calling it, they really couldn't run nowhere because you didn't know if there was a receiver leaking somewhere. And it just, like I said, man, Coach Riley has a knack of calling things at a perfect time and just a perfect field position to where I believe we would have ran that at midfield too. It would have worked the exact same way. But just the way he ran it, you really saw it open up.
You talk about Coach Riley and his ability to pluck a play, kind of like pulling an arrow and firing that dart.
Yep.
And every time he reached into the bag of tricks, the play worked. It was A, great play calls, obviously, but B, awesome execution by you guys every time something out of the ordinary was called. How much are you guys working on stuff like that? Or is that just like we normally run things like that, so we're always working on it? Like, how's that in practice?
I would say all the above. A lot of things are natural to a lot of us, to where we do things so much for instance, the trick play, where he gives it to Terp. Terp runs that little pitch play so many times a game. So that's a normal play for us. And now we just add one or two more elements and nothing changes. It's still the exact same thing. It's just one or two more elements, one or two changes, and nothing's different. Everybody's role is still the same. Everybody's still doing his 111, so it's still the same. So it's more just like you're still doing your job with just one little change.
So just that extra wrinkle that makes the difference in the execution.
Yep, and that's one thing that I say I commend Coach Riley about is everything really is, in better terms, as simple as it seems. If that makes any type of sense. And most people like it's not simple as it really is. Like it really is, because once you understand what he wants from you, once he's understand, what he's meaning and saying, it clicks like a light bulb.
So it sounds to me like, and I'm not an X's and O's guy, right? I've been watching football for 40-some years, but I'm not an X's and O guy. But it seems to me like, Cam, Coach Riley tries to not overcomplicate things.
Yes, absolutely. But also he kind of goes as we go. He feels like, okay, they can handle more. I'm going to throw a little more at them. Well, they can't handle that. scroll it down a little bit. But at the same time, man, we really go as each other goes. Like, yes, Coach Riley is our alpha leader. He's our head dog. But at the same time, man, if you really think about it, we're all the alpha leader because we all go as each other goes. And there's been times where, like, saying, Coach Riley, I got you, or Coach Smith to come up to Terp, or Terp will go up to one of the defensive guys, and you won't see those interactions on a normal basis. But it's like we have that respect level. We have that much of a respect for each other, and just the fact of I am who I am, Coach Smith is who he is. We're not any lower than anybody. We can come up to each other and be like, hey, man, I need you. I need you to step it up. I need you to be able to soak in a little bit more than what we're already doing, just so we can be a little bit more better today. I mean, that's one thing that I can say about us as a general, as a team, man. That's why I feel like we were so good last year, because we really looked at each other as there wasn't one leader on the team. Yeah, there might have been some guys who were making more plays, doing this, that, and the third, but they looked at me to get them great field position, even though I was just a kick returner.
Not just, though.
But you know what I'm saying? But the thing is, we looked for Scott to make the perfect snap every single time, even though he was just a long snapper. And you don't talk about this long snapper ever, even if often.
I love Scott. He's a great guy, by the way.
I love Scott to death. That's my guy. That just goes back to saying, like, Scott is an alpha dog. Because if it's not for him, for that one play, you won't hear them talk about Brock with the hold. And you won't hear them talk about our kicker ever. So it's like, we're all our own alpha dog. There's not just one leader on, like on the defense or special teams or on offense. We're all the alpha dog.
Personality wise, you guys were all very interchangeable in a sense. That's for sure. And, going back to your wide receiver room, you're talking about 5-6 deep wide receivers, every one of you guys able to do similar things to one another. And while Terp was the guy who kind of started to emerge after week 3, 4, 5, each one of you had that opportunity to contribute. Darius Shepard had his game. Alonzo Moore had his couple games. Jamon Moore even had a game, even though he didn't get much action during the rest of the year. You had your crazy trick play and your pass to Luis. So everybody had something that they did. And I don't think the rest of the league understood exactly how deep the Generals wide receivers are.
I don't think the league understands how deep the entire team is. Like for instance, y'all saw him in a couple games and he started to make things really shake towards the end. But Paris Ford, that's all I'm going to say.
Oh, yeah. He came on strong at the end of the season. He made a couple of key picks, emerged where you didn't hear his name much. Week 1, 3, 5.
Here's another guy who you didn't hear nothing about, hardly if anything. But go back to the first punt return in USFL history. He made the key block. Christian Tutt. Christian Tutt can play. Christian Tutt can be one of our starting nickels or starting corners if Boz or anybody else goes down. But it's just how things roll. Like that's what I'm saying. Like we have so many guys I can sit here and just name, and you're gonna be like, man, I forgot about him. So it's like we had guys who could make it happen at any time. It's just whether or not they got on the field or not.
Numbers game.
Yeah, man, and that's just how football goes, man. Sometimes you just have those teams where they got 1 or 2 guys at each position, but we had like 3 or 4 at every position.
Tight end. You guys had three quality tight ends.
We really have 4, and the first one he just couldn't get healthy. Nick Truesdale.
Oh, right. That's right. I forgot about him. That's right.
Look, you see my point there, right?
Yeah. You make a great point.
Mm-hmm. Like we had, and Mike Weber.
Mike Weber. He was injured too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So like we were extremely, extremely deep, and people just didn't even know about it.
And now we got an expanded roster next year, and all these guys are going to be coming back healthier, and also with an opportunity to compete in a longer camp.
Exactly.
How psyched are you for camp?
Man,
Even though it's 3 months away.
This will be my first training camp. Like my first true training camp.
Well, you came in late this year, right?
Like period. Right before, all my professional.
Ever?
Yeah, this is ever. Like I went to rookie minicamp with the Colts, but I got hurt my second day. So, and then when I got brought up to Canada, it was after camp both times.
So, and then with the USFL, it was in April. I think you got signed.
The last day of camp.
Right. So like April 10th or something.
Yes, I was brought in the last day. So I spent my birthday here with the USFL. So I was brought in the week before that.
Okay.
So it was literally the last day of camp for us.
Amazing. And now here you are entering an off season, preparing for
first. Yeah, man, and I'm psyched. When I say I'm psyched, it's one of those where it's like, man, I go to work out and I'm almost like, did I do enough today? Okay, I gotta do more tomorrow. Did I do enough today? Okay, I gotta do more tomorrow. And I'm like, man, I'm only 3 months away. I'm 3 months away. But then again, it's like, okay, you got time. But like we said at the beginning of this conversation, man, we'll turn our heads and we strapping up for camp.
Yeah, I mean, 90 days from now, it's going to be time. And in 90 days, you can get maybe 60 workouts in if you're doing it right. So that ain't a lot of workouts if you think about it.
Not.
Is that about right? About 20 hard workouts a month, or you do more, Cam?
Man, probably more.
More. So you're like a 6 day a week guy.
So like some days I may not work out, but the next day I'll make up for the day I didn't.
Oh, you're like that.
Yeah, like some days like I may not work out on a Wednesday, or I may not work out on a Friday, but that Monday I'm gonna make up what I missed on a Friday. That Thursday when I didn't work out on the Wednesday, I'm gonna make up what I missed on a Thursday. So it's one of those, and then I definitely use the weekend. That's my time. I'm off. I don't like to touch a football. I don't like to touch my cleats. I don't like to look at no bands or no weights on the weekend.
That's good though, because now you know when you're gonna work and you know when you're not gonna work, and so it makes it a little bit. I'm not going to use the word easier, but you understand. Hey, these are my 5 days, and this is when I'm pounding it out hard. I'll rest Saturday, Sunday.
Absolutely, and then it's like growing up, it was school football.
Yeah.
And then when you're school, it's football. So now, I had to grow to be like, okay, it's football so many days of the week. When is it going to be Cam? When is it going to be Cam and his lady? When is it going to be Cam and the family? So I had to really, understand that some days, it's okay to take a day off.
Right.
It's okay to take the weekend off and spend time with the family and leave everything in the car and not even touch the football, touch your cleats and just leave them there. Like that's all right. I really had to understand that. And it took a while, but and I finally got to it.
It's interesting when we all kind of have that moment in our careers, no matter what we do, where it's like, hey, it's great to work hard and I love the work, but there's other things in life. And guess what? The company ain't going out of business if I don't write a report over the weekend.
Absolutely, man.
Yeah, that's a great attitude to have, Cam, because it keeps you so focused yet still grounded in the fact that, there are other worlds than these in a sense,
Yeah, there are, man. And, it also gives me time to, look at avenues, find avenues, of how can I, or, what can I do outside of football to establish, an income or, establish a hobby or, just find, you could put both those together, find a hobby that becomes a passive income.
Yeah, that's the best, because then you're not even really working anymore when your hobby is what's generating your lifestyle.
You feel me? And I feel like nowadays that's what our world and generation is getting to is, finding a way, doing things that we love to take care of ourselves.
Yeah, because when you're expressing yourself in a natural way, then life seems to flow a lot easier as opposed to being
It
stuck in some
does.
situation that doesn't really suit you as an individual or as a person or in your soul, right?
Absolutely.
And then it sucks.
It does, man. It does. Like I've been, like I understand. Like I get it. So you know, I've been there, especially with COVID. You know, and we had to just sit at home.
Oh
You know, and
man,
we had to, and then we didn't know if football was coming back, so we had to get a job. Like I've been there. You know, I get it. I understand.
what was your what was your major in school?
So people gonna laugh, but I
Why?
graduated with a. Cause everybody laughs at football players when they graduate with general studies degrees.
You got a degree, didn't you?
Thank you. That's
That
what I
ain't nothing
said.
to laugh at.
But they always say they only laugh because it's a football player degree.
Right.
But what they don't understand is like for general studies, we don't have just one thing with studying. Like there's three different areas. So like yes, it's not hard, but at the same time, we do have three different subjects that we have to study and graduate for. So for instance, mine was criminology, forensics, and physical education.
So it's kind of like having a major then.
It's essentially it is. It's like having like what is it called? I haven't been in school for a minute. It's a major and a mid major.
Right. Like a minor.
Minor. I'm sorry. Yeah, a minor. Yes,
Yeah.
that's basically what it is. It's just three small minors.
So you're getting like three minors instead of like a single thing in like marketing or something.
Essentially.
Okay.
Essentially.
Well, that's pretty cool. So you talked about doing things outside of football, like for income and for a living and exploring other ideas. What would you see yourself doing? You're 10 years down the line. What's Cam Echols-Luper doing? To make him and his family happy.
Well, one, everybody knows I'm going to own my own gym. So I'm more than likely going to own my own gym. But a part with that is going to be, I really want to have my own field.
Oh,
Like, so there's a trainer in Houston. Most everybody knows him. Footwork King, and he literally has a field. I believe it's 60 by 55 or something like that. And he does all his training there. Everybody comes there to work out, train, run routes, one on ones, whatever. Um, I want to have that, something like that, but with a gym attached to it. So that way, whether it's me, my teammates, my guys, people I'm training, their kids, there's no more having to call coach to see if he can open the gate. There's no more calling to, call anybody to, hey, is it okay if we can, come on this field or, please running y'all off because it's trespassing. Nope, all you gotta do is just come to the field, pay your little fee for the day, and you're good.
wow, I
You know,
love that.
or if you're a member, do your little membership card, boom, come in and go about your business.
Oh, you got quite the vision there. That's pretty cool because you can't have something come to fruition until you see it up here.
Man, I've had this in mind for so long. I'm really surprised. A lot of people are really surprised I haven't done it yet, but it's not the time for it. But and then again, I'm always coming up with new ideas for it. So it's just kind of it's still evolving. And then, besides that, I will be coaching. I will be coaching. I don't know whether I'll be coaching in high school or I'll start off, in college, but I'll definitely be coaching.
Do you work with kids or do any kind of charitable type of stuff as well?
So,
I know a lot of guys I talk to do that sort of thing. How about you?
so like I own my own little training business now.
Okay.
So that's what I do. I train kids every day. So
Nice.
yeah, so I'm really around the youth. I'm really around high schoolers, pro athletes, like nearly every day. Like now, past couple of months, I've been training a couple guys for the LFA, the Mexican Football League,
Uh-huh.
and I had one of my guys he got drafted to the LFA. So kudos to my boy LJ. I'm
All
proud of
right.
you.
What's his
Uh,
name?
his name is LJ.
All
He's
right.
Yeah, man. So, but yeah, man. I've been training a couple of guys for the LFA, which is the Mexican Football League, and man, they got some good things going on, man. Chad Johnson played in it. Trent Richardson played in it.
Yeah.
It's actually some pretty good football. They actually just had a tryout here in Birmingham. I want to say it was the end of last month.
They have a good
So
turnout for that?
it was pretty good. Probably had about 150, 200 guys out there.
A lot of players, man.
Yeah, pretty good. It's pretty nice little turnout.
This is the most amazing time, I think, in the history of football. And I'm a bit of a football historian. This is the most amazing time to be a player because never before have there been this many different options to play. It used to be just NFL, CFL, and that was like to a lesser extent. And now we've got USFL. You got this Mexican league. You got the other guys starting their league in February. You got the EFL over in Europe. There's so many places for guys to develop and get coaching now, and just have options to just keep playing for a few more years, just because you can.
Absolutely, man. And I can't thank everybody enough who's creating these leagues. I can't thank Brian Woods enough. You can't sit here and tell me that I don't personally think or feel that I'm good enough to play in the NFL. But we all know that there's politics for that. But
Right.
you give guys like me, guys like Avante Turpin, DeAndre Johnson, you're giving guys opportunities to play in this league that these guys, most of them have played in the NFL. So you can't say that this isn't NFL caliber.
Correct.
So it's also giving us guys, it's giving us more confidence to say, I can do this. I can play in the league. And it helps guys who are in high school, helps guys in middle school, because it's like, okay, if I don't make it in the NFL, I can make it in the CFL. I can make it in the XFL. I can make it in the USFL. Okay, if that doesn't happen, there's more avenues I could be seen to make it in one of those leagues.
Yeah, there's a different level to strive for now, because let's face it, it takes a certain elite talent to be an NFL player, and hard work, of course. But for so many of the athletes that maybe are just a level below, why not a league for them? It's just as good a level of football.
Absolutely, man. And like people say, football ain't for everybody, but there's levels of football for everybody.
As a participant and as a fan, I think.
Absolutely, man. And that's not saying to be disrespectful, not to say that there's not good players in semi-pro or good players in arena football or whatever you want to call it, man. There's good players everywhere. It's just all about how you go about getting yourself seen.
That's the truth, Cam. And I will tell you something else. And I have said this 1,000 times. Anytime a new spring league came out, starting all the way back into the 1970s, the first thing that emerged out of that spring league was, wow, there's a whole bunch of other players that could play this game that ain't in the NFL. And Absolutely. That kind of player always seemed to get integrated into the NFL after that league folded. And it seemed to always give the NFL a jolt of new energy until the next spring league came, failed, and populated a new era of player. And now here we are. You guys represent that layer of player that kind of emerged and said, we can do this too.
Absolutely. And you're saying that there's one person to say, that's Avante Turpin.
There he is.
If you want a better story, a better example, explanation, just look up Avante Turpin. Yes, everybody has their faults. Yes, everybody stumbles their toe. But look where he is now.
Isn't it amazing to be watching him playing every Sunday for the Cowboys and doing the same amazing things he did for you guys?
We knew it was going to happen. Like, it's not like no disrespect, no to y'all. It's amazing.
Right.
To us, man, we saw that every day. We saw this happening in the games every weekend. Man, I wish y'all, that's what I'm saying. I wish people could see the things that he did when he first got to TCU. Man.
And you guys were there together, right?
I recruited Terp to TCU. Yes.
You recruited Terp to TCU. Now that I did not know. That I did not know.
Yeah. Yeah, I recruited, hosted. Yeah, that was me.
Now, did he have a hand in you getting picked up by the Generals late? Did he get in anyone's ear?
I mean, I'm pretty sure, Turk might have said something to somebody, but the fact that me and Turk was on the same spring league team and that we were with Coach Smith, that's where it came from. But
how cool is Coach Smith, by the way?
Like, to be honest, Coach Smith is the only coach that I know that got me, understood me the second he met me. And that's Coach Smith can tell you that's a hard thing to do. And I'm not one, like, I'm a very coachable person, but just like I have a different way of thinking, different way of doing things. Sometimes, I'll hear what you say, but in my head, I heard it a completely different way. And I'll go do it how my head heard me told you to, you know what I'm saying? So, but it's like, it's not wrong. I just might have did it just one step different or one step less, but, I really had to learn and really truly listen to how Coach Smith was really telling me to perceive coaching as a professional now. And that's when I say, like, Coach Smith really understood and got me the first day we met. Because from the first day we met, it was, excuse my language, but stop bullshitting and do stop bullshitting and really do this. And I don't know if Coach Smith ever just thought, knew, didn't realize that I was maybe giving 75, 80%, but he must knew. Because there's times where I'll be giving 85, 90, 92%, and he'll just look at me.
Get moving, huh?
Yep, I got you, coach. But that's
how'd you know?
Right, but that's the thing. He's been around so many great players to where I respect that, highly, tremendously. And we had those coaches on the staff. Coach Dish, he's an all-pro safety with the Oilers.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm familiar with him. Absolutely.
And what's funny is somehow I have a story almost about every coach. And somehow in my life, almost every coach on our staff somehow has mingled, found a way somewhere in my life. So, for instance, Coach Dish, my pops and Coach Dish played together with the Oilers back in the day.
Okay.
My free agent running back with the Oilers. So then let's go to Coach Riley. Coach Riley was coaching at Oregon State when Steven Jackson was the running back. My pops coached in New Mexico. They played each other in the bowl game. So
I remember that. I remember that bowl game. Steven Jackson went off that night.
Las Vegas, yeah. And then Coach Lockley, who was our tight ends coach, was also on the staff.
Small world, the football world, isn't it?
Our receiver coach, Coach Rogers, everybody knows who James the Quiz Rogers is. I used to watch them. I would stay up and purposely watch Oregon State. Coach Riley was their head coach still. And then also my uncle, my pop's best friend, is their uncle. So it was just a whole somehow every team I've been on in football, I've always had some type of family ties, a family tree, some way of some form on the team or as a coach.
It's like just one big giant family for you.
Yeah, man, and I love it because it's almost like I can't go around half stepping and nobody's gonna let me. And whether it's my teammates, whether it's Turk because we know each other like the back of our hand, whether it's me and my receiver coach because he already even heard from our uncle, all right, Cam, he's going to come in and do this, do that, do that. He's going to be thinking he's going 100%, but he's really going 80. Get him right. And it's those things where it's like those small little pick-me-ups in practice or small little texts after meetings or, hey, Cam, stay for 10 minutes after me just to watch this because I want you to learn or, see how you did this and see, do a better way. And, man, I love that coaching staff. I love that team because everybody was on the same time, on the same chapter.
It seemed like it was a very together roster all year long. You guys had each other's backs. The coaching staff was really in tune with you guys. Everybody I seem to talk to, Cam, whether it's some of these new guys that had just been getting signed since the season ended or some of the returning players from the general staff, they all say the same thing about Coach Smith, getting back to him for a second, which is he just has a knack of connecting with you from the jump.
Yes.
And you buy into what he has to say because he's real.
Absolutely. And the fact that, man, guys these days, we don't want no sugarcoating. Don't beat around the bush. Just give it to me straight. If it hurts my feelings, it hurts my feelings. You can pat me on the back after. That's cool. And that's exactly what he is. He just gives it to you straight. And I'd rather have it that way than beat around the bush and let me figure it out. No, tell me straight up what I do wrong. Am I messing up? Yes, you know. Bet. Okay, now let's get it right. And I think that in today's society, in today's generation, you can't beat around the bush with nobody.
Truth. That's the truth, man.
And you kind of, it's either I'm straightforward or it's you're not gonna get it. It's either you got it or you don't. It's just one of those.
It's up to us to be direct sometimes, though. I think people are afraid of other people's feelings. And in a situation where, let's face it, football is business first, we got to be straight with each other. Otherwise, you're not going to get better. The team's not going to get better. And then your common goal doesn't get met.
Exactly. And it's all one. Everybody, we all have one common goal at the end of the day. So all them feelings, that stuff don't matter. We can say the feelings for the house. Like that's when the feelings matter. You know what I'm saying? But other than that, it's one thing. We all locked in.
Cam, that's the truth. All the guys I've talked to are all locked in for next year. You guys are definitely on a mission, from Billy Devaney to Coach Smith to Toby to Darius, and now you and Scott Flanick and everyone else that I've talked to. They all want to get back at it as soon as possible because there's some wrongs that got to be righted.
Man, absolutely, man. We said it earlier. We got some things to prove. It's not unfinished business, but we got some things to prove.
Cam, I'm looking forward to the rest of this offseason going away so we can get to camp. We could probably keep talking for another couple of hours here, but I'm going to let you get home. I appreciate you taking out all of your free time here to chat with me and, let the fans get to know you a little bit. But please stay in touch with us as we get closer to camp. And then I look forward to talking to you when we get to camp too.
Most definitely, man. Let's stay locked in, man. Most definitely. You locked in with us now.
I'm an honorary general.
Yeah, it's death row for life, baby. You locked in.
I love it. I love it. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Cam Echols-Luper of the New Jersey Generals. Generally Speaking, we'll be right back. Welcome back to Generally Speaking, the off-season edition. I'm your host, Angelo Fioris, also known as at @NJ_Generals on Twitter. How about Cam Echols-Luper, huh? I really enjoyed speaking to him. It was my first time to get to know Cam a little bit, and I found him to be pretty engaging and pretty candid about his feelings and his thoughts on how last season went, and also on his goals for next year. And if there's one thing that I've seen and learned about the Generals during this offseason is that they are of a singular mind to right that wrong that happened back in June in Canton, Ohio. And they're going to be focused and carrying this massive chip on their shoulder all through the regular season and right into the playoffs. And they're not going to stop until they win the USFL championship. And the way these guys are talking, I have no reason to doubt their resolve. That's it for this week's edition of Generally Speaking. Thanks for listening. Tune in next week when we have another current New Jersey General on our show. Take it easy. See you next week.